Hey everyone, about a year ago I posted a video about this product spin animation in Blender. And many of you liked it but had some questions about the colors. How can they change the colors of the different objects in this spin animation? And because this is sadly not so easy to achieve in Blender and you get some random results most of the time, I tried to create a solution and came up with one that works perfectly fine. It's a bit more complicated and maybe a bit time consuming, but you can achieve it in at least 5 to 10 minutes. First thing we're going to look at is the spin animation itself. And after that, I'll show you how to change the different colors from all the different objects. And you can rearrange them as you like. All right, let's start out with our objects. In my case, it's the switch controller and it consists of two elements. One is the color part and one is the black and white part. If you just have one object, it doesn't matter, it's even better. First thing I do is select one of the two objects. I select the color part and add in an array modifier. If you also have more objects than one, just do it for one and later we will copy it to the other objects. Counts I will change to 6 pieces and the relative offset we can set to 0 for now. We also need to add in an empty so the model knows where we want to rotate our object around. Select our object again and in the array modifier go to object offset and select the empty we just created. If you get weird results like this, don't worry, we can fix that. Select your objects and press Ctrl A to apply all transforms. After you did that, all the objects should actually move back into the center piece. Alright, now if we select our empty and rotate it around the x-axis, you can see we already get the desired effect. Because we want some space in the middle, we select the object and we can't just move it up. Otherwise, we will have this weird effect which we do not want. Instead, we select the object, go into edit mode and then move the object up. And as you can see, the center point is still in the middle. We can also rotate objects as much as you like. As we can see now, we only rotated the color part of the switch controller and not the black part right here. This can be a problem, so I press Ctrl Z to undo our settings. After that, you can select both objects and go into edit mode and press A to select all. And we selected all the vertices and faces in edit mode from all objects. And then we can press the Z and also rotate it around again. Perfect. To duplicate the array modifier, so also the black part gets spinned around, we select the black part, then shift select the color part. And on the objects, we can go to link transfer data and copy modifiers. And as you can see, both objects now have the array modifier on and spin around the empty in the middle. To animate the movement, we select the empty in the middle and go to frame 40 and press I on the keyboard because this will be our end image. We go back to frame 1 and select the empty. And on the sidebar, we can see we have rotated the empty minus 60 degrees. Select this number and type in 0, so the spin animation starts at 0 degrees, and press I again to add in a second keyframe. If you play the animation now, it looks something like this. It's kind of boring because the animation is quite static and the movement is super uninteresting. To fix that, we will go into the graph editor. In the graph editor, we open up the axis of the empty. And all we actually need is the X order rotation. So we right click on the X order rotation and select hide unselected curves. So now we can only focus on this curve. To achieve a fast spin motion in the beginning and a slowing down in the end, we will select the first handle right here and move it down. This just means the steeper this curve is, the faster the animation goes, and the flatter the curve is, like here in the end, the slower it goes. So if you play the animation now, you can see we have a fast start and a slow ending. This is exactly what we want. You can play around more with the curves. You can also go super crazy and create something of your own. Fast, slow, and fast again. You can go wild and creative, but for this video, we just use the fast start and the slow ending. All right, so far so good, but how do we change the colors now? Therefore, we will need geometry nodes. But before you click off, it is not scary and it's super simple. We just need 2 nodes. For now, select the object you want to change the colors. For me now, it's only the red part right here. I select it and add in a new geometry node tree. In here, we want to add 2 nodes. One is called a set material index. This one right here. and we plug it in between the input and the output. After that, we need a mesh island node, this one right here. Select it and place it under the input. Now we connect the island index to the material index. For now, nothing will happen, but we have now the options to change that. Let's head back into our shader editor. And as you can see, our material consists of different texture maps. If you have no texture maps in here, it's fine as well. But if you do have texture maps, it's the same method. To change a color from a texture map, we add in a hue, saturation, and value node in between. Because now if we change the hue right here to 0.1, you can see we can change the color of our objects. Now, how do we randomize this? Well, it's not really randomized. Because what we did in the geometry node is that each material in the material settings over here has its own index right now. So the first object in the array modifier is set to the first material right here. If we're adding a second material, we can see all the other colors change, but actually the second material is connected to the second object. So therefore I will go into the shader editor and I will select also the red section color. Now we have two reds, but we want to change them. To duplicate this red section, so we have a new material, just click on this copy material right here and we have a new material that looks exactly the same. In here, I will call this blue. All we have to do is change the hue to, in my case, it's 0.1. So we have a blue color. And this process we will repeat now for all the objects. So we add in a new material. We select the first red section material, the original material. Copy it. So we have created a new one. And let's call this yellow. And find the hue. Let's see what yellow is. Maybe 0.6 is yellow, right? And we have set a new material for the third objects. This process you will repeat for all the objects you have in the array modifier. For me, it's 6 times. So I'll do this and I'll see you after the cut. All right, after you're finished, it should look something like this. You have all the different materials over here and all the objects should have a different material. The cool thing about this is if you want to switch, let's say the second with the third color, you just select the green color right here and move this material down with this button. So as you can see, the yellow got switched out with the green. You can also switch the purple with the blue one. So select the purple, move it down one node. And as you can see, the colors got switched out. The cool thing about this method is you have real freedom. You can change the color to whatever you want. You can also go super crazy. It doesn't have to be the same material or the same color whatsoever. It can get a little tedious if you have like 100 objects, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. But with this particular product animation and you want to show off different types of colors for your products, it's perfect. If you want to do the same thing for the other object in your scene, it is the exact same process. Just create the geometry node and after that you can create different materials for the different objects in your scene. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you could learn something today. If you have more questions about product animations or about giving random colors to objects, I could do more tutorials about that. Just leave a comment and I will get back to you. Thanks for watching and remember, keep pushing boundaries.